Hey everyone, so it's day 3, that's the last day of the 3 days of videos that I've been doing on finding your coaching niche. If you remember, on day 1 we looked at why you should niche, why it's important to do so. On day 2, yesterday we had a look at what makes up a good niche, what are the criteria, and we also dipped a little bit into the neuroscience of the buying brain and looking at how our potential clients' brains really like us to simplify our message. They don't like complexity and they want us to cut through the clutter and kind of tell them exactly how we are going to be able to solve their problems quickly, clearly and explicitly. And this is why it's so important to actually define your niche. It really does on many levels make tremendously good business sense. So today I'm just going into a very kind of high level look at 5 steps that you can take to define your niche. I do have an online course called 5 Simple Steps to Finding and Defining Your Niche, in which I go into this in a lot more detail and really do kind of hold your hand along the path. But let's just take a brief overview of what's contained in the course. So the first thing is to, sorry, my dogs. The first thing is to understand why it's important to you to find and define your niche. So I've sat with many clients over the years who can see the business sense of it, can acknowledge that there's value in finding and defining your niche, but when push comes to shove, their heart actually isn't in it, because they really feel as though they are being, if they are going to be defining their niche, they're going to be boxed in. They're going to be limited in terms of the amount of business that they can get. And here's an interesting dilemma, because there's different schools of thought. Some schools of thought say that when you first start out coaching, don't narrow your target market. Rather get as much experience as you can with as many potential clients as you possibly can, and work with as many people from diverse backgrounds. And there's also that school of thought that says that as a coach you don't need to be a subject matter expert, which I do agree with to some extent. But we are seeing a greater and greater trend nowadays where our clients want faster results. They want immediate effectiveness from the coaching sessions. And so there is a growing trend towards working with coaches who are subject matter experts, or certainly do have some kind of an understanding of the context and environment and world view of the clients that they're working with. So do you niche when you are first coming into the coaching industry? Again, the choice is entirely yours, and you've got to do what your heart and your head tells you is the right thing for you to do. So that's the first step, is to make sure to do some soul searching and to make sure that you really are invested in this process, because otherwise you can do all of the work, but it's just not going to land. You're actually going to be wasting your time if your heart's not there. So having done that soul searching, the second thing that you need to do is to have a look at the people that you've worked with. Are there clients who really stand out in your mind? Are there clients where you feel as though everything has been right on every single level? So it's been the challenges and topics that they've brought to the coaching relationship. It could be the kind of work that the client does. It might be the level within an organization that that client works at. What was it about that client or that group of clients that you're able to identify that makes them really stand out for you as your sort of signature, having done signature work? You also need to identify what it is that you most enjoy working on. So I've got a friend, for example, who is a really, really outstanding management coach, and she's phenomenally good at working with newly appointed managers, and she's actually developed a whole kind of pathway that they can follow, that she coaches them through to make those first few weeks really impactful and effective, and set themselves up in the most effective way for working with their teams. So she really has become an expert in working with people in management positions, and she's just got so much experience that she's able to shortcut or short circuit what might otherwise be a much longer coaching process or conversation, because she can identify and get to the root or the heart of the problems and the challenges that those new managers are having. So we're looking at who you most enjoy working with, the kind of work that you most enjoy doing, and then also where have you gotten your best results in the past. Again, it's going back to that client, and just kind of tease it apart a little bit. Maybe do some journaling about if you really came out of that situation with the client, if the client gave you amazing feedback from that coaching intervention, what was it that made it so amazing for you, and such a great experience for you and for the client. Just raise your levels of awareness around all of this. The third step that you need to take is to look at all of the testimonials and reviews and feedback that you've been given over the years. This is always it's a wonderful process, because you're looking at positive things that people have said about you. It's going to make you feel good at the end of the day. But the reason why it's important is because you will start to see patterns emerge, and you'll start to see people maybe using the same or similar phrases or keywords to describe what it was that they got out of the coaching relationship. And remember that your niche is identifying your niche, and the work that you do as a coach is as much about you as the coach as it is about what your clients get out of your coaching relationship. Also, as part of this step, consider doing some kind of surveys. So put surveys out to potential clients. There might be people who have contacted you and you've had a little bit of interaction with them, but it's never crystallized into a proper coaching relationship, and those are valuable people to perhaps go back to. And don't be shy, pick up the phone. Really, so much happens nowadays via email, impersonal, at arm's length, and just to pick up the phone, to connect with someone and respectfully say, I would just like to know what happened. Did you, maybe they found someone else that they clicked with better, that the chemistry was better. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you, but just having that knowledge puts you in a better space, and it allows you to deal with whatever might have stood in the way of you getting that business in the first place. Another really, really important segment of your market is past clients, and don't just pick the ones that you had the really, really great relationships with and were really successful with. In fact, where you will get the most valuable feedback is to contact those clients where maybe they didn't come back, or maybe they cancelled your coaching contracts, only a few sessions in. and where you really do get a sense that things didn't go well. It's all knowledge that you can put into the pot and learn from and improve from, and also it'll help you kind of hone and fine-tune your offering as a coach. Another really good source of information is YouTube. You know, just the other day there was somebody had put out a request for some advice on Facebook about, you know, how to define their niche, and they said they were kind of toying with going in a particular direction. And actually, when I Googled, or when I looked up this particular category, or whatever you want to call it, because it was still quite a broad, it certainly wasn't a niche, it was still quite a broad space to work in. When I looked it up on YouTube, there was a massive amount of information on this particular coaching subcategory, whatever you want to call it. So that would have been quite valuable for this person to have done that research, to again start to crystallize their thinking, see what other people are doing out there in the market, perhaps pick up on, you know, pitfalls that other people have experienced going into this broad area, and start to really you know, crystallize their thoughts, just get a little bit clearer. Because again, I go back to the fact that the consumer's buying brain wants clarity, it wants solutions. It wants us to really quickly and clearly demonstrate how we can help them resolve their problems. So the fourth step in identifying your niche is looking at your clients, your potential clients' wants, needs, and requirements, identifying them, being able to put them down on paper, and then mapping what it is that you offer over those wants, needs, and requirements. And we actually in my course spend quite a lot of time on this, because it's really key. Now that you've done research with some past clients, with clients that where you haven't perhaps, you know, had a wildly successful coaching relationship, you've started to gather this information, and you can start seeing what it is that your clients are looking for, and you know how you then match their needs. Your fifth and final step is to do what I call a personal inventory. Now again, the amount of work that you put into this is really going to determine the robustness of the results that you have. So when I talk about a personal inventory, I want you to go back in your past experience, and this is where it's from doing this exercise that somebody who is new to the coaching industry is actually able to identify a niche right from the start. And remember, I've said all along, a niche is not cast in stone. A niche can evolve as your experience evolves. It can become more sophisticated, but it just gives you an amazingly solid foundation from which to launch your coaching business and to send a clear message out to the right kind of people. So getting back to the personal inventory, go back over all of your past experience. Itemize and list all of the knowledge you've gained. I mean, you know, even if at university you helped fund your university by waitressing, you are learning to deal with people. You are developing people skills. You're developing troubleshooting skills, you know, when you're dealing with difficult customers. There are, even in something as seemingly insignificant as that, you have developed certain skills. You've developed the ability to remember things, and also the ability to anticipate. Have a look at what challenges and triumphs you have overcome over the years, where you have really been challenged and where you have felt that things have been enormously difficult for you, but at the end of the day you have resolved them. So what were the skills, gifts and talents that you brought to to that? Look at all of your practical experience, your education and formal training, and list what it was that you really loved about previous work that you did, and also what stole your joy. Those jobs that are joy stealing, for many of us it's like doing our finances, and for a lot of coaches it's having to market themselves and sell their services as a coach. So what have you enjoyed doing in the past? What's really not given you much joy? What are your personal values and what are your strengths? List all of these, tease them out, and again I say, the more effort you put into this, the more value you're going to get out of it. So we really do go into all of this in a lot more depth in my online course, 5 Steps to Find and Define Your Niche. And I'll be telling you a little bit more about that later, because I've got a special offer that I'm dropping for Black Friday. But I just wanted, before I end this video, is to share with you that our brains are frustrated by 3 things. It's tasks that take too long to resolve, our brains are frustrated by clutter, and our brains are frustrated by messages that take too long to decode or to apply. So it really is important that we are able to clearly, simply and explicitly share what it is that we do with our existing and potential clients, so that they don't have to decode anything, so that they don't have to kind of work hard to resolve what it is that we do. So I promised to tell you about my Black Friday special. This is going to be the last time that I am running the online course as a self-study course. I'm going to be, from early next year, I'm going to be launching it into a group program. So that's my 5 simple steps to finding and defining your niche. But for Black Friday, I am launching a special offer with full access to 5 simple steps to finding and defining your niche, a 45-minute one-on-one coaching session with me to refine all of the work that you do as you go through that course. And I'm also adding a bonus training on how to find coaching clients with practical, proven strategies on how to find your coaching clients. So if you are interested, I'll be dropping a link below this video during the course of today, as soon as the video is published. That's all I have for you. I hope that you've enjoyed the last 3 days and that you've learned a tremendous amount. And please comment below the videos, let me know how you're going, where you're having challenges. Just connect. I'm here on the other end of the signal, the internet signal. Thanks for being with me. Okay, bye.